The de-information age is upon us. If you are confused about the Olympic boxing situation, you're not alone. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Plus, what should Christians know about Governor Tim Walz, Kamala Harris's vice presidential pick? I'll tell you. This is your favorite night of the week, The Deep End on Tim Hetch Live. Okay, welcome in everybody to The Deep End, Season 7, Episode 34. My name is Tim, and I am your host here, and I'm so glad that you are joining us. And make sure, if you are here regularly, click that like button, the notification bell, and also the subscribe button. And we will make sure that you are always up to date with what we are reporting on. It is The Deep End. It is Tuesday night. Usually, last week I said it was going to be Monday night, but I was sick yesterday. You could probably still hear it in my voice. Recovering. Prayers appreciated. And so we're on Tuesday night. But thankfully, we're on Tuesday night because Kamala, and I was corrected on how I was pronouncing her name, Kamala, not Kamala, has chosen Governor Tim Walz to be her running mate. And we're going to talk about that. But before we get to any of that, this content is for educational purposes only. And I just want to make sure that you understand as well. And this is probably going to get me censored right off the bat, but YouTube censorship is leveling up. Google, of course, wants to get their preferred presidential candidate elected. So you have to subscribe to us on X and Rumble if you want to make sure to see and hear all the content. But let's start off with this. Welcome to the de-information age. Remember the glory of the information age, as the now hijacked Wikipedia talks about it, when the Silicon Valley people decided, or really worked hard to make personal computing a reality. Not just personal computing, but individual computing with our smartphones and our watches and our iDevices. And all of these things are really beneficial. We can listen to the music we want. We can browse the web. We can choose a restaurant in a strange city based on, fellow reviewers. You can watch movies in the palm of your hand. We can date, trade stocks, take family vacation pictures and videos, all with simple devices in our hands. The information age zoomed us into the 2000s, the new millennium. The iPhone was introduced. The Android system followed. And now AI is potentially opening up a whole new level of productivity. But sadly, there's another age trying to break into this age, and I call it the de-information age. The premise of the de-information age is simple. You must reject everything that you thought was true and accept the narrative of the machine. That's what you must do. Men can get pregnant. Children can choose their gender. Chromosomes don't matter. If you hire someone based on race, that's exactly what you should do until you mention that you hired someone based on race. Then it's evil bigotry. Not to mention the reordering of crime. Crime used to be stealing and looting. Now that's a civil right or reparations. And the new crime is posting things on Facebook that are nasty. I kid you not. That's what the UK is introducing us to right now. So before we go to there, let's talk about the confusion around the Olympics in Deep End News.
Deep End News. The news you choose if you could choose news.
Boxers from Taiwan and Algeria are set to compete for the gold, who were previously disqualified from Women's World Championship for having XY chromosomes. This is the news that you find in 2024. Now, just about a year ago, the Babylon Bee, a satire Christian news site, posted this headline: "Progressives cheer as man pummels woman." Actually, a few years ago. That was September 11th, 2021. And that fake news is now real news, as we have absolute confusion at the Olympics with one of the most brutal sports in human history, boxing. It's one thing for a man to compete against women in swimming or, archery or something where you're not touching each other. It's an entirely different level when you're hitting each other as hard as you can with fists. According to some news outlets, one of the quote-unquote losers of the fight, a woman, feared for her life during a 46-second fight against the opponent who failed a gender test. Now, I'm being very careful about this news because YouTube is going to suppress me. They automatically suppress any content that misgenders anyone else. But let me be honest. This is a dude beating up a woman and winning a trophy for it, winning a gold medal or a silver medal for it. Here, and I believe that is the Algerian wins. This is the Taiwanese boxer, Lin Yu Tang, who is beating the snot out of his female opponent. Boom, boom, just landing lefts, rights, and winning. Proud young man. Again, I'm going to get censored. I don't care, because we have to discuss what is the truth. what is the truth? Because all weekend, if you were like me, you saw posts suggesting that these boxers were trans. That is, that they were men who transitioned to women and fought in the women's boxing competition. Then I saw counter narrative saying that they were born women, and to suggest otherwise is complete bigotry and misogyny. And now I have the facts. Okay, now one of the things that people were saying was because one of the boxers is from Algeria, there's no right to transition, therefore he can't be a male or transition into a woman. So we did a lot of research. Thank God for the Deep End team. If you watch the Dependables meeting, you know who those people are. But evidently both boxers suffer from DSD. That is the difference of sexual development. Years ago, we called them hermaphrodites, and then we called them intersex, and now it's DSD. See, they're constantly changing the language to confuse you even more. What this means is they have XY chromosomes. Let me put this definition up there on the screen for you. They have men with XY chromosomes, but they have genitals that appear female. Or they are female with XX chromosomes, but genitals that appear male. And many times what can happen is the genitals don't fully develop or don't develop at all until puberty. So sometimes, yes, with the fall of the creation, thanks to Adam and Eve's disobedience to God, there can even be physical deformities in every part of the human body that make it confusing, make life difficult, and bring up very strange issues like this one. But fundamentally, what we know is that they both have XY chromosomes. They are both male scientifically, but their genitals don't appear fully male. And we've got news reporting on this. We know from news outlets that both competitors were barred from the World Boxing Championships in New Delhi last year by the International Boxing Association because they had XY chromosomes. And the IOC maintains that it does not know the specifics of what tests were measured. And they qualified the boxers on the basis of their sex listed on their passports. Yeah, passports. Well, that's just great. Just be ignorant and put men in with the women in the ring in a brutal sport because they put female on their passports. We have video. This is the head of the IBA, the International Boxing Association, talking about the test and these two men's results that barred them in March 2023 from female competition. Listen.
That happened, and on the 23rd of March, the results came through, and it demonstrated the chromosomes that we refer to within the technical and competition rules that make both boxers ineligible. And that was then further ratified by the BOD, our board of directors. It was taken there to remove both boxers from the championships. That was on the 26th of March 2023.
So you have right there the confession from the IBA head saying that they were disqualified in 2023 from competition because they were male. XY chromosomes. What does the IOC do with that? They just reject it. Even the New York Times has an article stating that these two boxers did not meet the required criteria to be considered female and were found to have competitive advantages over other female competitors. And back in 2023, the IOC released a statement reiterating that every athlete in the boxing tournament complied with the game's eligibility and entry requirements. The next day, they said that the disqualifications rendered to Khalif and Lin were victims of sudden and arbitrary decisions by the IBA. So the IBA, the International Boxing Association, and the IOC, these are the two organizations that are in the works here. And the IBA disqualified, and I would think that the International Boxing Association would know more about who can box who than the IOC. I mean, the IOC gathers all the sports together. The IBA focuses on one sport, boxing. So the IBA said no. They don't fit the profile. They've got a competitive advantage. They're going to beat the snot out of these women, and they have. Even more evidence. This is from Redux Magazine. The European Vice President of the World Boxing Association has come forward to confirm that Algerian boxer Imane Khalif is male. He warned the Olympic Committee about several male boxers in women's category, but nothing was done. This is abominable. But this is the cloud of confusion. This is the chaos disorder that the devil is giving to the world. The West is disintegrating piece by piece. Not the West. The whole world is disintegrating piece by piece. Great confusion is coming upon the world as this platform that gathers all the nations of the world together to watch and to celebrate and to win and to lose, now is becoming a mouthpiece, a blowhorn for confusion and chaos to reign supreme in the minds of humans around the world. What does the IOC president say about all of this controversy? His name is Thomas Bach. He said it is a politically motivated culture war. It's about it's hate speech and aggression. It's totally unacceptable. Yeah, okay, so to suggest that a man with elevated testosterone shouldn't beat up a woman is a politically motivated cultural war statement. It's hate speech and aggression. That's me. That's who I am. That's who you are, if you agree with what I'm talking about. So it's unacceptable, just in case you're not following along. It's unacceptable for us to question a man who was born with female-looking genitals, and because of his elevated testosterone, should not compete against a woman in a very high-impact sport like boxing. That is hate speech. By the way, this is Thomas Bach, who famously said, at the Olympics, all people are equal, regardless of their country or of origin, gender, sexual orientation, social status, religion, or political belief. The Olympic Games can only become this inspiring symbol of peace through a commitment to inclusion and solidarity. Our mission compels us to always embrace human diversity and never to exclude others. Non-discrimination is enshrined in the Olympic Charter, our Constitution. So when we talk about never excluding others, can I be part of the pole vault competition? I mean, I really have a hard time, even jumping over puddles. Can I jump over poles now? Can I be included? I mean, who's to say that I'm not gifted enough to run in the 40 meter? I just have a condition. I was born with slower legs than these other athletes. So I want to be included. I want this full embrace of solidarity and inclusion and utopia and harmony to be part of my life. I should be fighting these men in the Olympic Games. I should be pole vaulting. I should be jumping over those hurdles. This is the devolution of the world at work. It is utter nonsense to suggest that everyone is equal and all beliefs and ideologies are important. Equal in value? Absolutely. That's biblical. All men are created in the image of God. It doesn't matter your color, disability, doesn't matter who you are, even what you believe. Your humanity makes you equally valid as me. But we are not equal in terms of our sex. We are not equal in terms of our size, our strength, our abilities, our talents. And when science says something and the Olympic committee says the opposite, you have further proof that science has been thrown out the window in the name of tolerance, inclusion, and woke ideology. The memes are abounding on this issue, like this one. The 400-pound boxer saying, sure, your opponent has XY chromosomes, but she identifies as a 98-pound woman. Or this one, which I found particularly hilarious. A motorcyclist identifying as a cyclist would be the first trans cyclist to participate in the Tour de France this summer. The Bulgarian boxer Svetlana Staneva, who lost to Lin Yuting, refused to shake his hand, and she held up the symbol X as a gesture, a symbol for women. Meanwhile, over on the hard left progressive outlet of the news, Vox is doing work for the woke scolds, talking about how discrimination against trans Olympians was part of Nazi Germany's history, and if you are one of those people, guess what? You are a Nazi in the making. So this is, again, all the rhetoric that gets heated up in our political discourse, in the chaos and confusion that the enemy has just been foisting upon our culture, upon our world now at the Olympics. And it demonizes one select side, one kind of person, particularly Christians with brains and truth undergirding them in the Word of God. And that is where we are headed. That is where we are on the Olympic world stage. How much harder does a man hit than a woman? Do you ever think about that? Evidently, according to science, which we should still care about 160% harder. That's more than double. 160% harder men hit women. This is Sharron Davies, a former competitive swimmer who represented Great Britain in the Olympics. She is talking here about men competing against women and their advantages in every sport, but particularly the consequences of high-impact sports like boxing. Listen.
The difference at Olympic level in sport is between about 10 and 30%. So something like middle distance running is 10%. Weightlifting is up there at 30%. So the more explosive an event is, the more the difference between male and female biology. Something like high jump, long jump, quite explosive, about 22%. A male of equal weight will hit 160% harder than a female. And that's onto a female bone structure, which is less dense. Women have a bigger Q angle because of the size of our hips. So that means that we end up with 6 times more knee injuries in things like football, because we obviously have this angle. But it means that a male will have more ability to put power through their legs on things like sprinting, on striding, on a bike in particular. It's a big advantage. So these are all things that reducing testosterone makes no difference to whatsoever.
So the argument that she's making there is that even if you reduce or create a way to reduce testosterone in a man who identifies as a woman so that he can compete against women, he still has the bone structure that gives him unfair advantage as a result. So where are we going to go here? Are we going to get to the point where people have to get surgeries to realign their pelvic joints so that they're more female? And then we're also going to pump them up with testosterone reducers and then make sure that they are as female as we can scientifically make them so that they can go and hit women? That looks like the trajectory that we are on, that Sharron Davies is talking about there. Here's my admonition to you. Christians, do not be deceived. We are in the de-information campaign, the chaos campaign upon our culture. And it is imperative upon you and upon me that we do not let the values of our chaotic world cloud our understanding of how life works. Jesus told us not to be alarmed by this. He said in all the Gospels that there will be deception. That's why he says in Matthew 24 and Mark 13, see that no one leads you astray. The implication there being there would be worldwide global deception happening at all angles. And if you are in Christ, you have to see it. You have to understand that it's coming. You have to understand it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse, friends. I mean, think about this. Just 9 years ago, our country, the United States of America, enshrined homosexual marriage, quote unquote, homosexual marriage, not marriage, it's just a civil right that they invented, as the law of the land. And now here we are 9 years later, and men are beating up women in sports. They're taking their trophies. They're even winning their beauty competitions in many respects, in many places. And this all in the name of what? Equality? So that men, once again, do what Genesis 3 talks about in the curse of sin. Men will dominate and rule over women. It's curse of sin stuff that we're seeing all over again. It's not all bad at the Olympics. And that brings me to really good news.
Really good.
That's really good news.
It's good.
So there are some Olympians who still have a good head on their shoulders, and I'm going to talk to you about the Fijians. And here they are, singing worship songs in the Olympic Village. And evidently this has been going on all Olympics long. Praise the Lord. Amen. Isn't it just beautiful to hear the praises of the Lord, even if you don't understand the language that's being sung in? And not pertaining to the Olympics, but more really good news. This is a follow-up on Kansas City kicker Harrison Butker. Remember, he made waves in May at a graduation speech that he made to an all-Catholic school, suggesting that most, not all, most Catholic women would be happier in life having a family and children. You know, very hurtful stuff, according to the woke schools. So he was excoriated, he was hated, he was demonized, he was judged relentlessly by the politically left-leaning members of society. And even some teammates' wives came out and demonized him. Well, guess what? The Chiefs just made him the highest-paid kicker in NFL history. Now, remember, the NFL had to put out a statement saying that his views don't represent them. And he was, ill-informed according to the power structures that be in the NFL. And now he's making bank. Here's what it tells me, and is important for you, Christians. When you do your job well, they can't cancel you. When you kick that ball at whatever it is, 98% through the uprights, they can't cancel you, because at the end of the day, the world wants to win. At the end of the day, people want to succeed. At the end of the day, businesses want to make money. So if you're a Christian and you're struggling in your industry or whatever, your outlet, and you're saying, I don't understand, they might cancel me, they might fire me, they might do this. Look, don't focus on that. Focus on doing your job as best as you can. Be the best employee they will ever see. Show up early, leave late, ask for extra responsibilities. Take every opportunity that you can to succeed in that industry, because I guarantee you the rubber is going to hit the road at some point in your life, and you are going to have to stand for Christ. And if you're a valuable employee, they will think twice before they fire you or release you or lay you off. Because at the end of the day, our measurement is, have we done what we have with what we have we done what we do with what we have to the glory of God, to the best of our abilities, because we are here for his glory, not our own. Unfortunately, I can't stay in the good news. We have to talk about Massachusetts, because Massachusetts is actively involved in creating even more chaos and confusion by removing mother and father from birth certificates. I kid you not. This is news out of Massachusetts. There's a bill. It removes mother and father from birth certificates, according to ABC4. State Rep Hannah Kane, who also sponsored the bill, said, "The Women's Caucus endorsed this bill because we know that there are many paths to parenthood and our laws need to be updated to reflect the diversity of families." Kane explained that this bill makes significant strides towards supporting children born through assisted reproductive technology and ensures equality for LGBTQ families to establish parentage. And here you have the pictures of the bill here up on the screen. Section 6 of the law strikes out in lines 11 and 12 the words "a man and a woman," inserting in place the word "persons." And even further down the law, Section 16, they strike out the word "mother," and now they replace it with "person who gave birth." Section 17, they replace "father" with "other parent." Section 19, they strike out "mother" if the mother with "person who gave birth" if that person. Just more lunacy, more chaos abounding, more fog to compel you to think, well, I guess I really don't know what's right, what's wrong, what's up, what's down, left is right, right is left, evil is good, good is evil. The times of Isaiah, the times of Ahab, that wicked king of Israel, is upon us. The devolution of society is at an alarming pace, and it is getting worse. Meanwhile, how are they going to continue to maintain power? Well, that's very simple. Another chaotic movement in our culture is the allowance of illegals to vote. And I've covered this many times, and I've gotten flack saying there's no evidence of illegal voting. But we have the evidence. An organization called Oversight Project visited some illegals in a Georgia apartment complex and asked them straight out about their citizenship and voting status. Listen to what they said.
We come from a company that is dedicated to registering Hispanic people so they can vote in upcoming elections. Are you already registered? We already voted. You already voted? Yes. Are you a citizen or?
No.
Have you already been registered or?
Yeah.
Are you a citizen or?
No.
Have you already been registered at work? Yes, we have. You've already been registered? Are you a citizen or not a citizen?
No es.
The apartment complex Elliott Norcross in Norcross, Georgia, is occupied primarily by non-citizens. We visited the complex to ask residents 2 questions. Are you a citizen, and are you registered to vote? Shockingly, 14% of respondents admitted to being non-citizens registered to vote.
Buenas, disculpe por molestar.
Hi, sorry to bother you. We're here with an organization dedicated to registering Hispanic people so they can vote in the upcoming elections. Have you already registered or? Yeah. And was it at work? No, someone came? Did someone come knocking on doors? Okay, thank you very much. And listen, are you a citizen or? No. So, I don't know how much proof we have to produce before people will start paying attention to this. But it's an actual fact that non-citizens are going to be making election decisions for our country in the future. The New York Post reports how non-citizens are getting voter registration forms across the U.S. and how Republicans are trying to stop it. This article states welfare offices and other agencies in at least 46 U.S. states are providing voter registration forms to migrants without requiring proof of citizenship, leading Republicans and conservatives to call for the swift federal action to stop the handouts. Look down here in the bottom of this article. If an applicant attests that they are a U.S. citizen, that is considered valid on its face, and the person is registered to vote except in Virginia, Tennessee, and New Mexico, where they must provide a full Social Security number as well. Chaos and confusion reigns. The hijacking of American ideologies reigns through nefarious practices from those in the deep state who know exactly what they're doing. They're taking your vote away. You understand, when illegals vote, your vote is annulled. And you who pay taxes, who work, who have paid into the system, who have been here for however many years you've been here, whether you are an immigrant or you are a native-born citizen, you are being sidelined, marginalized for the sake of those who have no vested interest in the future of our country. And there is a political side of the aisle that is absolutely all up on this. And even if you don't believe the New York Post, well, here's an article from the NPR. Some non-citizens do wind up registered to vote, but usually not on purpose. So this article just goes on about how 544 votes from 2000 through 2017 out of 93 million votes overall cast were absolutely by non-citizens. And you say, well, that's just a minute number. Yes, but that's what they are willing to admit. And that is from 2000 to 2017 is escalated as 11 million to 13 million migrants have come across the border. Illegals have come across the border. We now have reports that Joe Biden has flown illegal immigrants from all over the world into residential populations by private planes. These are absolute facts because we know that Joe Biden had to shut the project down. So now we have it on good evidence from these reports that you have a replacement campaign of citizens for non-citizens to vote in our elections and to make determinations about the future of our country. And all of this leads to the news today that Kamala Harris has picked Tim Walz as her running mate. This guy is the poster boy for confusion and chaos politics. Walz, of course, was the second choice of Kamala, as Josh Shapiro, the Pennsylvania governor, was Jewish, and that would have made her lose that Death to America crowd over in Dearborn, Michigan, and elsewhere. The Democrats have an Islam problem. So here's what Kamala did. She went full woke, and that brings me to politics. Okay, let's talk about Tim Walz. This guy is the leader of the state that fell into oblivion during the Summer of Love 2020. Chaos reigned supreme. Riots burned down cities, and almost nothing was done to bring the rioters to justice. In fact, Kamala sought for donations to bail out the protesters on her Twitter page and raised $35 million, which was used to release many of those people who rioted and protested and burned down cities to go out and commit violent crimes once again. Do we have to remind you of what Minnesota looked like pre-2020 and post-2020? Unbelievable. The future, the progressive future of embracing woke politics. Yeah, just destroy the building. Why not? When people aren't held accountable for their actions, this is the kind of society that you get. The future Vice President of the United States. This is his state, as after the 2020 riots, Summer of Love. Well, we've got more details on Governor Tim Walz and what he stands for and what he enacts for legislation in his state. For instance, back in May 2023, Governor Tim Walz signed a law expanding the eligibility for driver's licenses in the state of Minnesota to go to anyone, regardless of immigration status. So here he is, all excited.
A packed room at the St. Paul Armory erupted after the governor's signature made driver's license for all the law of the land.
Still think that their game plan isn't to ultimately get illegal aliens to vote in our elections? I mean, this is another picture from the Immigrant Law Center of Minnesota. Now you can get a driver's license even if you are not a legal citizen of that state. Governor Tim Walz also took a bold step in replacing the very hateful state flag of Minnesota with a new progressive, kind of progress flag-esque and very boring, quite scary flag as a result. Look at that flag. It's just so weird. It's a star with an angle and two colors.
There, that's better.
Boring. By the way, this is the former Minnesota state flag. And I just want to give you some context here, all right? Minnesota became a state in 1858, and the seal of the state was shortly implemented thereafter. Let me talk about the details of this state seal. It features a pioneer plowing a field and a Native American on horseback, a setting sun, a tree stump with an axe, and a wreath of pink and white ladies' slippers, as well as the state flower. This is very racist. Why? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. This is the world of Tim Walz. By the way, he is all in on socialism, calling socialism just being neighborly. Watch.
But we can get out there, reach out, make the case. And for one thing, don't ever shy away from our progressive values. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
Yes, neighborliness is when the government comes with guns and takes money from you every time you spend, save, buy, sell, literally everything. Even when you die, the government comes and takes your money and gives it to people who don't work, who don't want to provide for themselves, who want to bilk the system for everything that they can. Oh, by the way, it was in 2023 when Governor Walz signed a bill into law requiring schools in Minnesota to stock tampons in the boys' bathrooms, earning him the moniker Tampon Tim. And Tampon Tim was trending on X this afternoon as a result. So boys and girls' bathrooms is a big key to Tim Walz's governing strategy. He also signed a law last year that would provide felons the right to vote. 55,000 felons were restored their rights to vote after serving their sentences. And if that's you and you're cool with that, well, then he is your guy. He is your guy. And here is his wife, Gwen. This is an amazing statement. His wife, Gwen, talking about perpetrators of violent crime should be given as many chances as they need by the justice system. Watch.
And having a chance every day. Like, how many chances do you get? My answer to that is as many chances as you need, which doesn't really please those law and order people.
Yeah. So law and order people, get out, because we're going to give these violent crime offenders second, third, fourth, fifth, unlimited chances. Talk about even the undermining of Romans 13, which says that the government bears the sword to punish wrongdoers. What happens when that sword is turned into a stalk of corn? Nothing. More injustice, more crime, more disrepair, more chaos and confusion. It is perfect. It is a perfect pick for Kamala. The chaos and confusion campaign, the de-information age, is upon us. By the way, Walz also signed into law a bill protecting trans kids' rights, getting stuff done for the mentally ill. And of course, when I say protecting, I mean making sure that children can transition as young as 6. This disturbing video stipulates just that. Watch.
Also standing in that sea of people, a parent, transparent about his family.
My partner Gretchen and I are here today because we are parents of a trans child.
Their child is 6 years old, and she was as excited to be at a boring capital on spring break as any 6-year-old kid could be. Squirming and fidgeting her way through speeches, hardly aware her existence as why her parents drove 5 hours today to speak publicly.
6 years old. 6.
It's 100% personal. I mean, the safety, the happiness of our child is it couldn't be more personal.
Asher, why are we here today?
For trans rights.
For her rights to be her.
As you can see from this interview, I can't force my kids to do anything here.
And that's the problem. Right there. Thank you, Mom, for being honest. You cannot force your kids to do anything. Well, they're clothed. And he's wearing women's clothing, of course. But you didn't bring them naked, right? Ugh.
Asher has trusted us enough. She believes in our love enough that she has invited us in to see her whole self. And if we don't love her that much, the opposite would happen, where we wouldn't get to know everything about her. And so we're lucky, we're blessed, and we love her.
So much they came to the People's House this morning to talk about her, the person, in a room reserved for talks about politics.
And there's nothing in this world that I wouldn't do, like Gretchen and I wouldn't do, to protect her and others like her.
That is Governor Tim Walz's leadership at work. Transing the kids, felons can vote, illegals getting driver's licenses, tampons for young men. What more do you need? Christian voter, what more do you need to know that this is your full-on woke ideology pick by Kamala Harris? This meme is going around the internet, and I thought, this is perfect. This is a mom and daughter having a conversation, and the daughter asks the mom, "Mom, what's the contradiction?" And the mother says, "Believing that 18-year-olds could understand their student loans, but 7-year-olds can choose their gender." Exactly. And particularly when it comes to woke ideology, just remember that Kamala is all in on everybody, including you, being woke, and more woke. Watch.
You know, we have to stay woke. Like, everybody needs to be woke. And you can talk about if you're the wokest or woker, but just stay more woke than less woke. Yeah.
You ever have a conversation where you're the only one laughing at what you're saying? Nothing is more awkward than that. And yet she continually has those kind of conversations all the time. You know it's bad when the current presidential candidate from the Democrats sounds more insane than the left-wing progressive congressperson AOC. This back-to-back video of them speaking about Make America Great Again and what it means is very, 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 very telling. Watch this.
They say they will make America great again. Well, in my mind, that statement begs an obvious question. Again for whom?
Cue the laughter. Laughter, laughter, laughter. Ha 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 ha.
Can someone tell me exactly which part of the past they want to bring back?
It is kind of an interesting thing, like when Donald Trump tapped into this idea of make America great again, there was times of economic opportunity. It sounds like so controversial to say, but I think it is important that we do look back at times of great social and economic mobility. That was a time when Americans could afford a home. That was a time when people could afford to have a spouse raise their children and the other spouse help make ends meet. We had a point in our country, a point of actually very great social and economic mobility.
Wow, very telling that the person on the right there is not the presidential candidate who is willing to admit that there were times of economic mobility in our past that we need to get back. And the person on our left is completely convinced that this country's past is horribly irreparable, must be disregarded, and we cannot go back to anything in the past. Nothing is good in the past. Everything must be changed. Everything must be shifted. Everything must be co-opted and transitioned into some kind of nebulous left-wing progressive socialist utopia. That is the movement that the vice president, now presidential candidate for the Democrats, is aiming for. And again, I'm not here to tell you who to vote for. I'm just giving you the facts. I'm just letting you know who stands for what and where they stand on these issues. So Governor Tim Walz, full on woke. Where is all this leading, by the way, in America? I think we have to, as I regularly say, look to the UK. The UK is lost. It is gone. Great Britain, that once great empire that ruled the seas and ruled the world, has been hijacked by all the things that we're talking about in this episode. Woke ideology, all immigrants are welcome. There is no such thing as a stranger. Borders are bad. Let's bring everybody in. And riots are breaking out across the country. More on that in the extra content, but I do have to share this with you. This is the story of a man getting arrested. This is a video of a man getting arrested in the UK for posting the wrong thing on social media. And this is what's happening in the UK right now as Islamic migrants take to the streets and destroy the country piece by piece. Watch.
Question, something which later on in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence. Do you understand that?
So I'm actually being arrested?
You're going to be arrested, okay?
Right.
Take you back to the police station.
Right.
You, okay, this is in relation to some comments that you've made on a Facebook page. Okay.
Oh, really? Oh, it's a Facebook crime, is it?
Okay.
Right.
So we need to ask you some questions about that.
Right.
Have you got anything in your pockets,
I've got my keys. I got... No, that's about it, I think. Keys.
So, anyone who's been arrested, we can search them under Section 32 of the Basic Evidence Act.
Right.
And that's for dangerous items.
I mean, you said I was going to be arrested under some what information? I'm going to be arrested for posting on Facebook.
Some comments that are offensive, obscene, and people have made a complaint about that, and it's transferred.
And can you tell me what this comment was?
Okay, well, we'll do that when we interview.
All right.
Okay, and that goes on and on and on. And by the way, did you just see the date of the article, 2012? In 2018, the UK had 3,300 people arrested. 3,300 people arrested for posting something on Facebook that was seemingly inappropriate, according to the government. Where is free speech? I know it's not in the Constitution of the United Kingdom, but it is in our Constitution, and it is under threat right now. And I guarantee you, there are a lot of progressives, there are a lot of left-wing politicians that are looking across the pond at UK and saying, yeah, that's where we want to go. Because we don't like the fact that Donald Trump says mean things. We don't like the fact that some of his supporters say mean things. Or they question as to whether Kamala is Indian or black. Or they say mean things about trans people and cause them to commit suicide because they don't believe in the ideologies that we believe. That is the trajectory of our culture. It is the de-information campaign, and it is heightening as we speak. And I don't want to alarm you. I just want to inform you because Jesus told us it would happen. It would happen. Deception will run rampant at the last days. Are you deceived, or will you hold true to your convictions? Harris and Butker tells us the way to do it. Stick with what you know is right, because God is for you, not against you. And so we've got a lot more to talk about tonight, but that's going to be on the extra content. And if you are not subscribed to the Dependables membership plans, all it takes is $10 a month to help support this content, help support all that we do here. And you can join us right now for the extra content. And if you would, leave a review on the podcast app of your choice for our channel. That would be very appreciated. My book, Ending Emptiness, is out now, endingemptiness.com. And then, of course, Tim Hatch Live Shop, Bold as Lion Designs. We've got God Over Government tees available that went out to all of our legacy supporters for free. And I can't think of a better shirt to wear right now than that one. When you support us, we support the Project Rescue and American Bible Society organizations. Thanks for being here. I pray God's empowerment upon your life to keep you rooted in the truth, because the days are dark. And yet, we know the light will ultimately win. God bless.